know the classic strudel, you know, the phyllo pastry rolled up with a nice apple filling in the middle. Well, we're not going to make that today. We're going to make a strudel, but what we're going to fill it with is some ricotta cheese, some chocolate, just some chopped up chocolate, a little bit of orange zest and some sugar to sweeten it. And I think it's quite an interesting variation on the classic strudel. So I've got about 250 grams or so of that firm ricotta cheese that you can get at the supermarket. To that, we're just going to put a couple of good pinches of some orange zest, probably about half an orange, and about 100 grams or so of just some cooking chocolate that I've just chopped up here, just roughly. Chocolate in this is great because what happens when you bake it is it starts to melt, so you get this lovely melted chocolate texture all the way through that ricotta. We're just going to put, there's about 75 grams of caster sugar there, and we'll just start to work that. It'll just take a minute or two, just so it starts to get a little bit smoother. Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave that up the front here for a sec. I've just got some unsalted melted butter there, probably about 100, 120 grams. Right. We're just going to lay our tray down here. If you don't have a non-stick tray like I'm using today, make sure you spray it with some Pure and Simple. And we're just going to start with our layers of phyllo. So, let's just start with the first one here. Now some of it's going to hang over the front here. That's okay, because when we go to roll it up at the end, it will come back in. So we're just going to, just a light brushing of some butter. Not too much, because we're actually going to use about 10 layers here, and if you start putting too much butter on, we're going to have a problem with being too rich at the end. There'll be too much butter. And we are using ricotta cheese, which is, once it's been flavoured, is quite rich itself. So that's about enough. You can see that lightly brushed. Lightly brushed. Let's go on with our next sheet. Straight over the top. Make sure you're covering your phyllo with a damp tea towel or it'll dry out. Start to crack. Believe me, it's hard enough to work with without it drying out on you. Now I'm just going to continue that, brushing each layer until we reach 12 layers, at which point I'll show you how to fill it and bake it.
Cookware in my kitchen has to stand up to constant abuse. That's why I've developed a range of cookware that's functional, durable, affordable, and of course, the design is terribly important.
Available exclusively at all Target stores.
All right, here we go. Got our sheets done there. One last one. Put on over the top here. Now, let's get our ricotta mix. What we're going to have to do, excuse the hands, we're just going to shape it and start. You can see how I've used the spoon there to get a nice portion. And we're just going to start feeding it along there. All right, I think that'll be enough. So we've got a bit left over there, but that's all right. All right, now a folding process. We're just going to brush the edges of that last sheet that we put on. You'll notice that I didn't brush the whole sheet. I'll just go about the width of the pastry brush in, you can see there, all the way along on the borders. Okay. Now we'll start by just folding that edge over. Be gentle over the kink here. We're just going to start to roll. Now make sure that you keep these sides closed. As you can see there. And carefully lift up the pastry, bring it back to you, do another roll. Lift it up, bring it back, another roll. Until you're onto the tray. There we are. Rolled up nicely. Just press it down a little. Just a skerrick more butter on top. And that's ready to go into the oven. About 170 degrees for, I reckon, about 15 to 20 minutes. But as long as it's going to take for that pastry to be cooked all the way through and that lovely golden brown, flaky effect that you would expect from a strudel. Now, while we're waiting for that to happen, we're just going to make a quick, simple sauce with some orange juice. We've got about 4 nice oranges juiced here. Just going to pour them into a little pot through a strainer and set that over a low heat. That's enough. Just going to let that come up to the boil. We'll dissolve just a little bit of caster sugar in there, boil it down so it starts to become a bit syrupy, and then we'll just put a dash of cream in there to finish it. And then we'll check the strudel. All right, the sauce has reached that consistency I'm looking for, just a light coating. Turn that off, and I think the strudel will be ready. Let's have a look. That lovely golden brown colour I'm talking about, you can hear that, nice and crisp. Fantastic, just what we're looking for. Now we'll need to let that just sit and relax, cool a little bit, say for about 10 minutes or so. Slice it, that chocolate will start to melt inside, it'll be just beautiful. Serve it with some of that sauce. And there you have the orange, chocolate and ricotta strudel.